I'm again on the 29th episode of Fun with Heroes. Now, this week we are going to have four stories, of course, and four different heroes, but they are all from the same background as such. Okay, so these are the four
Army.
people. Yes, these are the four people we are going to cover. We have all the military session today, okay, entire military session today, covering heroes across generations and wars. Okay, there is someone who is from a World War II, someone from the India-Pakistan War of 1947-48, someone from 62 war, and someone from Kargil as well, okay, which is the most recent war that India fought. So across generations, officers are there, okay. So and different achievements they had. This is going to be a very amazing session in this
Uncle,
regard. Mhm.
Uncle, I've noticed that in the newspaper, there's like one small part in which it shows about soldiers who dedicated their lives to India. Like,
Okay, it should be there, right, in newspapers? Yes. So you are suggesting, or it is already there?
no, it is already there.
Right.
I sometimes read it. That's why I noticed it.
Yes. Some of them do cover. Yes, not on regular basis, but yeah, they do have. And it is good actually. They do have. Actually. Yeah. I'll probably someday recommend you even the books. Okay, there are very good books on the military stories actually, especially Indian military stories. That covering different heroes, different wars. Amazing books are there. So yeah. So now, anyone know anyone? Do you know? Can you identify anyone?
Himaya.
Okay,
Himaya.
there is one General Thimaya. Yes. Who else? No worries. Okay, so yeah, that happens actually. Okay, normally we know their deeds, we know about the wars, but sometimes we do not know much about the individual heroes. Okay, in general. So let's start with the stories. Then you will come to know more about. The first story is that Aditi identified itself, General K.S. Thimaya. Now, General K.S. Thimaya was one of the most celebrated military hero in Indian history. Okay, and why? So he was born in Madikeri, Karnataka on 31st March 1906, and he's called the pride of Mysore actually till date. So after completing his initial training, he was commissioned into British Indian Army on 4th February 1926 as a second lieutenant. So he joined the British Indian Army, which was at that time, okay, 1926. He was soon posted to the 19th Hyderabad Regiment, which is now known as the Kumaon Regiment. Uh, After that, in 1939, World War II started. So he was posted during that time in the Burma campaign, and he was a brigade commander during the Burma campaign, and he fought against the Japanese. He was a part of the British Indian Army, right? So he was fighting against the Japanese then. And in British Indian Army, uh, most of the commanding officers were British. Okay, while the soldiers are mostly Indians, but the commanding officers were mostly British. But General Thimaya was one of the rare Indians. He was the only Indian to command an infantry brigade in the battle during World War II. Okay, and so he was admired that much actually, that he was given that responsibility, and for his outstanding service in the battle, he was awarded the much coveted Distinguished Service Order, that DSO medal. Okay, he was that was one of the prestigious honor that time. He was awarded for his service during the
He
World
has
War.
so many.
Yes,
He
so
has so
many.
many medals on his uniform.
Yes. And uh, during World War II, as I mentioned, he fought in the Burma region. And after that, when the war came to end, he represented country during the surrender of Japanese in Singapore. When Japanese finally surrendered in 1945, he represented India, okay, on behalf of the British India. Then, and yeah, after that, in 1947, British left. A partition happened. And at that time, there was a huge issue of refugees, okay, coming from the Pakistan side of border in Punjab. So he as a army officer, he was in charge of taking care of the refugees. He did that work. And when the 1947-48 war started, he was the commander of Indian force of Jammu and Kashmir in 1948. So he was one of the active officers that time in the actions against the war of the 1947-48. So he continued giving his service during the different wars. Now, after the war, okay, he served as the commandant of the prestigious Indian Military Academy, which is in Dehradun. So IMA is okay, where they train the Indian Army officers, right? So he became the commandant of that, which is in charge of that academy for some time. Then after the Korean War, he headed a United Nations unit, okay, dealing with the prisoners of war in 1952. So he even provided service at the international level. And on 7th May 1957, General Thimaiya became the 6th Chief of the Army Staff of India. So ultimately, he became the Chief of Army Staff, okay, on 7th May 1957. He retired in 1961, and even after the retirement, he served as the commander of the UN forces in Cyprus and continued giving the international services. He did a lot of civil work as well, and for which he was awarded Padma Bhushan 1954. So he was as I mentioned, very decorated officer of the Indian Army. He served in the multiple wars, where he was even part of the UN missions, and was involved in a lot of actions. And the amazing part is that his brothers, he had two brothers, both of whom also served in British Indian Army. So he came from a military background, the family. So that's the story of General K.S. Thimaiya. Okay. And again, in Pune, there is a Thimaiya Road actually. There are memorials. Okay, and in Mysore, as I mentioned, he's called one of the proud sons of Mysore. So there is a museum in his honor. Yeah. Now the next story is of Major Rama Raghuva Rane, and this is a story about India-Pakistan War of 1947-48. So what's the story? So Major Rama Raghuva.
Is he Maharashtrian?
Rane. Rane was from Karnataka. Okay. So so he was born in the village of Haveri in Karnataka. And as a young officer, he served in the British Indian Army during the World War II. He was very young that time. Okay. And when the India-Pakistan War of 1947-48 started, he was a second lieutenant that time and was serving with the 37th Field Company of Bombay Sappers. Okay. Bombay Sappers is one of the units in the Indian Army. He was a part of that. He was operating in the Nowshera sector of Jammu and Kashmir. What was that? See, if you can see the image here, you can see this is a Nowshera. Okay, and there is another place called Rajouri nearby. Okay, now Rajouri was captured by the enemy, the Pakistani infiltrators that time. Okay, and Indian Army wanted to do an attack on Rajouri, and the only way to go there was via Nowshera. From here to here, they have to go. But this is a hilly region. Okay, this is the Himalaya range, the hilly region. It was there. They were full of obstacles, and the hills were not the only obstacles. The enemy has laid mines on this route. Okay, so there were a lot of mines on that road. So you cannot send tanks unless you remove the mines. Okay, otherwise tanks will blow up. So the Major Rane's unit was given the crucial task of clearing those mines and obstacles from this road so that the Indian Army can attack. Okay, so on 8th April 1948, Major Rane commenced the operation, but his troops came under heavy mortar fire from enemy. Of course, enemy was watching this, so they started attacking them. As soon as they started the operation, the two of his soldiers got killed and 5 others were wounded, including Major Rane himself. So he reorganized his team and started the work for the tanks. He even tied himself in front of the tank, okay, checking for the mines, and will stop the will stop the tank, remove the mines, then give a go ahead. And that is how he ensured the road was mine free and the Indian Army can reach successfully to Rajouri. Okay, and he did this work continuously for more than 48 hours without sleep, without eating. Okay, and the ultimately Indian for the next 3 days they continued the task. Okay, and the Indian army was ultimately was able to reach Rajouri and capture Rajouri thanks to Major Rane's efforts. Okay, otherwise it was impossible to reach there. So for his bravery, he was honored with the Paramveer Chakra after the war. The amazing part is he was the first living recipient of Paramveer Chakra. He stayed alive after the war, even though he got injured, but he stayed alive. And he was the first living recipient of the war. And right hand side, we have a photo of Dr. Rajendra Prasad, then President of India, honoring him with the Paramveer Chakra. So that is the amazing story of Major Rama Raghavan Rane. The next story we have is of 1962 war. Okay, from 1947-48 war, now we move to 1962 war, which was with China. So that is the story of Lieutenant Colonel Dhan Singh Thapa. Now, Dhan Singh, who was Dhan Singh Thapa? Dhan Singh Thapa was born to Nepali parents in Shimla on 10th April 1928. So, and he was commissioned into the 8th Gorkha Rifles on 20th August 1949. So he
What is
joined.
Gorkha Rifles?
Gorkha Rifle is another unit in the Indian Army. There are multiple units, right? So Gorkhas are mainly okay. There is a actually very well reputed unit of the Indian Army, and yeah, mainly comprises of the people of a certain region, mainly the Nepal and Nepal border region. A lot of people come from those places who join the army. They are part of this unit. It is one of the most reputed unit actually. They have won a lot of medals and honors across the years. So now, as I mentioned, the story of Lieutenant Colonel Dhan Singh Thapa is of 1962 war that happened in the Sirjap Valley in Ladakh. Okay, so what happened that time? Okay, so 1962 war with the China happened on multiple fronts in Ladakh and in Arunachal Pradesh. Now, this story is of a Ladakh, this particular region called the Sirjap Valley. So this is a map. Okay, so if you know about Ladakh, even last year we had some conflict with China, the ongoing conflict with China along the lake, which is a Pangong Tso. Okay, there is a very beautiful lake in Ladakh. You know that? Okay, Pangong Tso. Okay, if you have seen the movie Three Idiots, that lake is shown there, right? And in multiple other photos, you might have seen that very beautiful lake of Pangong Tso. The Pangong Tso lake is kind of partly managed by India and partly managed by China. Okay, so some parties under China's occupation, some parties in India's occupation, and this was the situation also in the 1962 at that time. Okay, and one of the conflict points between India and Pakistan, India and China actually. So you can see this is the lake. The southern side of the lake, this side of the lake was mainly India's occupation. The northern side of the lake is mainly China's occupation. Okay, so what happened that India realized that China is doing something, so they started building a post here in Sirija. Okay, military post here in Sirija. Okay, and but Chinese were advancing, but they were not attacking that time. So they were just kept coming, and surrounded this post. But there was no, the war officially didn't start that time. But the Sirija post was very important for Indian Army because here we have Chushul. Chushul was the air base, which is the only air base in this region. And this was connected via road to Leh. So if Indian Army, Indian Air Force has to send something, any material, any extra units, they have to come via Chushul. So protecting Chushul is very important, and for that, this Sirija Valley very important. This is a mountain region, right? It's a hilly region. So as I mentioned here, the post was established at Sirija, and who was given the charge of the post? Major Thapa. He was the commanding the post of 18 soldiers at this valley. Now, the problem is that Sirija post is an isolated one. Other side of the Indian Army was below the southern side of this lake. So only way to reach here was via boat. You cannot send anything via road here. Okay. So any reinforcement has to be sent. It has to be via boat. And as I mentioned, the Chinese were smart. They started building the numbers. They didn't attack initially. Okay, they just started building the numbers surrounding the post. And on 20th October 1962, the Chinese army launched a massive attack, suddenly launched an attack, okay, on the Sirija post. The attack went for 2 hours, and there were only 18 soldiers on the Indian side, okay, under Major Thapa. So they fought bravely, but they were no match for the numerical superiority of the Chinese army. Right, they were in hundreds. Okay, so like the Indian side kept on fighting, but the post ultimately collapsed. Okay, so the Indian unit on this side of the lake saw that there is intense fighting going on. So they tried to send some reinforcement via boat, but Chinese army shot them down. So they could never reach this side of the lake, and the help couldn't reach. And the Indian side thought that everyone on the Sidija post ultimately died. Okay, so Major Thapa was believed to be killed in the war. He was even awarded Padamvi Chakra for his heroic actions and protecting the post till the end. So he was awarded that. And everyone on the India believed that he died in the war. But what actually happened here? So Major Thapa didn't die. He lost the post, and Chinese ultimately captured the post, but he was taken alive as a prisoner of war. Okay. He was kept in the Chinese jail till the war was over. He was treated very badly as a prisoner of war. And once the war finally got over, he was released in May 1963. So he came back alive, okay, after many months, okay, to his family. His family also believed that he died, okay, but after many months, he came back alive from the war. So that is still a legend in Indian army, how he single-handedly fought against the Chinese army in the Srija Valley. After his release, then Dan Singh Thapa resumed his duties in the Indian army. Okay, once he came back, he resumed his duties. Ultimately, he retired as a lieutenant colonel in 1980. So that's the story of lieutenant colonel. Yeah, that's one of the posts in Indian army. He got promoted. Yeah, lieutenant colonel. Yes. So he got promoted from the
Is
major.
he still alive? My head's
No, he's
No.
not alive, right? So he died in 2005. As I mentioned here, on 5th September 2005, he died finally. So he's not alive right now. Yeah, but yeah, he remained alive to tell his story of the war. Okay. The next story, now we move to the Kargil War, which is a 1999 war that happened in the Kargil sector. So if you see, we talked about the war with Pakistan on the Naushera sector. Then we talk about the Chushul sector, okay, which is a Ladakh. Now we are talking about the Kargil. Okay. So Captain Major Manoj Kumar Pandey was born in Ruda village of Sitapur district in Uttar Pradesh. So he was from Uttar Pradesh, and he had keen interest in boxing and bodybuilding during the school days. And he was very inspired by the Paramveer Chakra stories. He used to watch them on TV and he used to read about them. He was very much inspired by those stories, and that's how he got inspiration to join Indian Army. He wanted to win a Paramveer Chakra for his country. So he joined NDA. He got commissioned into Gorkha Rifles. Again, he was also part of the Gorkha Rifles. Yeah, he joined the Indian Army. Now, as I mentioned, the story comes. It starts in the Kargil War of July 1999. Okay. So what happened then? So Major Pandey performed an act that made him a legend that night actually, and this is a story of one night of 2nd and 3rd July. Okay. So what happened there? So this is the area where the Kargil war ultimately was fought. So this is the Kargil you can see here, and this was Tiger Hill where we talk about the story of Major Vikram Batra, right? Earlier, there's a last sector where the war was happening. There was another sector which was Khalubar, the Chubal sector. Again, the mountain. So these are all the mountain peaks. As we know, in a war, whoever is on the top of the mountain has an advantage, right? So they can shoot down anyone coming to them, and they can capture the entire region. So the story of Manoj Kumar Pandey is of this Khalubar sector, Khalubar peak. Okay. So what happened on that night? So on 2nd, 3rd July, Captain Pandey was leading a company that was tasked to capture Jubar top of Khalubar Hills in the Batalik sector of Kargil. So in this sector, he was tasked to capture this hill, okay, Jubar Hill. That was occupied by Pakistan army, and they were targeting the Indian soldiers from that peak. So he was tasked to capture that. Okay. So Captain Pandey quickly moved his platoon to an advantageous position under intense enemy fire. Of course, the war is happening. They were firing from the top. So taking a shelter, he moved his company to a beneficial position, and then he fearlessly charged ahead, clearing the first two enemy bunkers. So there were multiple bunkers on top of the mountain. So he cleared the first two bunkers himself. But that time he got hit on the shoulder and on legs as well by clearing the third bunker. So while clearing the other bunker, he was hit, but without caring for his injuries.
Clearing bunker meaning?
So how do they manage the post on any hill, right? They normally prepare bunkers. Bunkers is like a rock bunkers, or the rock shelters are created from which they can fire the advancing the enemies, right? So that they are safe, okay, within the bunker, but enemies is at the risk, kind of thing. So on this top, they had in fact 4 bunkers in which different Pakistani army soldiers were there, and they were continuously firing. So clearing means he captured those. He cleared them of the Pakistani enemy
Means
soldiers.
he killed the soldiers
Yes,
over
yes,
there.
yes. He killed the soldiers of that. Okay, so he cleaned 2 bunkers initially. Okay, and then he moved to clear the third bunker. Okay, charge towards that, but by that time he was hit on the shoulder and legs, but he didn't ask for the rescue from there. He wanted to continue the assault. Okay, he didn't want to slow down the assault because they were in a good position. Indian army was in a good position, so he wanted to continue the assault that time. So he continued even after clearing the third. He continued assault on the fourth bunker and destroyed with a grenade. So it threw a grenade inside the bunker, which killed the soldiers there. But while doing this, he was hit with a bullet on his forehead, and he collapsed and died on the spot. But because of his brave act, okay, Indian army became very okay, it was in an advantageous position on top of the hill. Okay, so others then rushed in and ultimately captured the Khalubar post. Okay, so reinforcement come. They finally managed to capture the Khalubar post after a long battle. So because of his this brave act during that night, okay, he was awarded the nation's highest gallantry award, Paramveer Chakra. So he always wanted to win that, right? So he finally achieved.
So he fulfilled his dream.
Yeah, he achieved his dream, but unfortunately he died while achieving that. So he could not achieve it or receive it in person. So that is the story of Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey. Okay. Or the story of Khalubar Hill. Yeah.